If you are starting your first day as a high school art teacher and you are looking for ideas on what to do for that first day, I've got some ideas for you. I'm a high school teacher, so these will work for high school, but you could also adapt some of these ideas for elementary, middle, and even college classes. My name is Dina Rennick. I've taught kindergarten all the way through college and all grades in between. I was thinking about the fact that in my department, there are actually 5 art teachers, which is pretty amazing and pretty unheard of for a high school. So I feel very fortunate that I have colleagues and friends that will share ideas with me, and we collaborate with each other and help each other with ideas. You might be the only art teacher at your school and you might not have anybody to collaborate with. So you can be our friend too, and hopefully our ideas will help. So I'm going to take you through the day. I'm going to show you what I do, what my students do, and hopefully some of these ideas will fit with your personality, your teaching style, and will help you out on your first day. So by the time my day is over, my students know how to walk into my classroom, how to greet me, how to collect materials, how to use art materials, how to follow procedure. They know that I am there for them and that I respect them, and I'm glad that they're there and that I really care about what they're interested in. And they hopefully have gotten to get to know a little bit about me. I think if you can get that done in one class period, you are doing great. If you only get half of that done on the first class period, that is still fine. As long as you are still standing by the end of your class, you are going to be just great. Just make sure you're always showing your students that you care about them, that you have their best interest at heart, and you'll learn as you go. You might have to tweak some things, adjust, but you're going to be great. You might feel like on your first day you need to jump in, you need to make a bunch of artwork, but really the main things to focus on are starting to build relationships, building a sense of trust, some procedures, boundaries for the class, as well as getting to know your students, knowing what works for them, what doesn't work for them, and finding out who they are. So the main things that we have for that first day are a questionnaire, a syllabus, a name tag for them to make for their cubby, and then also a PowerPoint that's sort of a welcome and syllabus PowerPoint or Google Slide, which I usually only get halfway through on the first day. I also answer some of the questions that they have for me and give them a little bit of an introduction, and then we go from there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the questionnaire and the syllabus, both the questionnaire for in-person learning and the one that I use for virtual learning when we were 100% virtual last year. Then I'm going to show you the syllabus and explain what we do for the name tags, as well as going through the PowerPoint and answering questions for the students. When students first walk in, they're not all coming in at the same time because it's the first day and I teach in a big school, so some of them might be lost. So some students come in much earlier than others. So I always have something for them to do when they come in, and that is they come in, they come to me, and I give them 2 things. One is the syllabus and one is a questionnaire. That way they have something to do as soon as they walk in while other people are filing in. And as they come in, I've already set a precedent. The new students who just walked in see that there are students already working, so that helps kind of contribute to them coming in and getting started right away. As soon as they have the questionnaire, they get to pick their seat. Some of my colleagues have assigned seating and some let them pick theirs. It depends on your personality and your comfort level. So for me, I say, this is just for today. This is not your permanent seat, but here are your 2 papers. Find your seat, find a spot where you feel that you can work well, and then sit down and start filling out the questionnaire. As an aside, and I'll make a video about this another time, but I have flexible seating. So I have couches and low desks and tall desks and little islands and round tables. So as long as they pick a spot where they feel that they can work well, I just let them pick a spot. So they sit in their seat, they start filling out the questionnaire. I'm going to show you the questionnaire and leave a copy in the description so that you can use it and tweak it however you would like to, if you think it'd be useful for you. For me, the questionnaire is the most important thing and the thing I like most about the first day. It helps me to get to know them, and it helps me to learn things that will help me with classroom management and with teaching. I always tell them I like to teach all different styles of learning. All right, so here is a questionnaire that I give to my students when it's hard copy, and this was done before everything shut down, before we were virtual. So this is just in a normal year in person. You can see it asks, what is your first memory of anything related to art? When is the last time you took an art class? And some of it will be they haven't had art since 5th grade. Some of them haven't had art for a really long time. I've broken down these questions into small parts so that they'll answer everything, and I tell my students, you're not getting graded on spelling, just on thorough and complete answers. I say, don't say IDK or yes or no. Answer it completely. And I tell them that the reason I have this questionnaire is because I just met them. I'm one person and I'm meeting 30 of you for the first time. And I want to get to know you as soon as possible so that I can find out what you're interested in, how I can teach you the best, so that I can teach you the way that you learn. So this is a way for us to speed up the process. There's things like, when is the last time you made something? What was it? And I give an example of making an exhaust pipe with a soup can to get them to realize making things isn't always, going to Michael's and buying some expensive kit. It can be anything that you make is something that you made. What tools are you familiar with? If they say, I don't know any, then I kind of lead them to answer like, they can use a pencil, their fingers, a pen, something like that. So getting them to think about what is a tool. And then is there an artist whose work especially interests or inspires you? It can be someone famous, but it can be a relative, a brother or sister, a friend that you know, so that also they're realizing art isn't just famous people in books, that people are artists all around them. So anything that they say. Also, if they do not have a single visual artist that inspires them or that they're interested in, I tell them any form of art is perfectly fine. So they could choose a musician or an actor or a director or a clothing designer. So anything that's creative that they are inspired by or interested in. Then what expectations do you have for this course? Why are you in this class? I know that we all hope it's because they all love art, and that's true a lot of times, but sometimes maybe they just need the class so they can graduate, or maybe they took it because it was the only one open at the time in their schedule that they needed it, and that's fine. Maybe they don't even know that they like art yet, and this is their chance to find out. Sometimes they just say it's to get a good grade. Sometimes it's because they love art. Sometimes it's because they have something specific that they want to learn. And then, what do you hope to do or study in the future? And I know that's a really hard question. So just anything that they could see being interested in down the line. Same thing with movies, films. I leave everything wide open, but they do need to come up with some kind of question. What have you been reading? They all have at least their schedule in their hand probably, or on their phone. So they've read something, even if it's not the great American novel. What kind of music do you like? I always think that's interesting. Extracurricular activities. I make sure to make a point that you don't have to be on the football team. It doesn't even have to be school related. It can be any way that you spend your time outside of class. And I added to this over the years, who are your mentors or your coaches? So who's somebody that's important to you, that you look up to, that helps you? And the last two, often they do not want to fill it out, but they do. And it's, tell me something that would be helpful for me to know. I try to make it lighthearted and say, it could be that you love frogs and you think it's really important to let me know that you love frogs. So tell me that. But maybe you get a little bit of anxiety around people, and it's important that I know that so I can help you if you're feeling anxious. Or maybe you are very busy and you like to be active and you like to be the person who hands things out all the time. Or you like to be the person that runs an errand. Or maybe there's something that makes you really mad and you're gonna need some help calming down. Or maybe you don't ever want to be called on because it would make you cry. Anything that will help me help you. So think about your learning styles, things that you're interested in, anything that will help me get to know you better and teach you better. Then the last one, ask me a question, is useful because I actually answer them. I say, as long as it's appropriate, you can ask me. So they might ask me, do I have kids? Or how long have I been teaching? Or is this class going to be hard? Or you have to be a good artist to take this class. But I tell them they can't ask me what the secret of life is, because that's not my secret to tell. So that is my hard copy. When we were virtual last year, and I won't spend a ton of time on this, but if you want a video on how to start teaching virtually, let me know. I have everything on my records from last year. So I had to make everything virtual. So I made a Google form, and here you can see I have the dates. It's on Google Sites, which is an awesome website to use if you have this for your school. It's Google, it's easy to do. I'll put a link to the video that I use so I could learn how to do it. And then I thought I would also make one for my website and just kind of walk you through how I made my website. But here it is. And virtually, when we started, our classes were shorter and we were still getting our feet wet with it. So it was structured a little differently. I had the date, we logged in, we looked at the class website. And then we watched 2 videos and I had them in the chat respond to the video. So one was, what is art? And one is, why create? So I got them to start getting used to talking to me by writing chat messages in the chat. And then we did the art appreciation, getting to know you, which you see right here. This is the Google form version of the form. It's very similar. I'll put a link to it in the description so you can make a copy for yourself. It should force a copy. It's almost exactly the same, but I added in, what concerns do you have about virtual learning? And how have your hobbies and interests changed during COVID? Because this helped me understand how they're doing right now when we're starting class online. So that is the virtual version. And then I'm going to show you the syllabus. I won't walk you through the whole syllabus, but I'll put a copy in the description, so if you want to borrow some parts of it, you can. So here we have the school, all the information at the top. By the time they got into your class, they have probably went through what feels like a million syllabi already. So I try to make it as positive as possible, as easy to read. And sometimes we spend part of the first day going over it and then part of it the second day. So here it is. And I usually do it in conjunction. I make a PowerPoint or a Google slide that goes along with it that has a lot more visuals and makes it more interesting. So instead of just standing in front and reading them, the syllabus, I go through the PowerPoint and this sort of just goes along and accompanies it, but it has the same information. I tell what the expectations are and what the state standards are, procedures. Now on the one that I'm showing here, this had procedures for virtual learning and also for in-person, because we didn't know throughout the year what we would be doing. So I put them both in there, and I probably changed things as I went, because like I told the students, I saw this on a meme where it said, we're building this plane as we fly it. So I said that all the time. I said, this is our procedures for now. If we need to change it, if we need to do something differently, because we realize that it's necessary, we will. But this is what it was. By the virtual, I had the in-person rules, the in-person procedures, and then since they could get to this online from the website, then they also could just click on it and then they could answer all of the questions, and I had them all in a file on my Google Drive. And I did refer back to it often throughout the semester. When they're done with the questionnaire, they bring that back to me. I tell them I'm going to be checking to make sure everything's filled out completely. If not, I'll make a little mark and you can go back and finish it. And then when you're done, you're going to come up and get a piece of paper. I teach high school, we have 4 blocks. That means I have 3 classes, and so I usually have color-coded classes. I try to pick colors that I have colors of highlighters for, so that as I'm highlighting things in my grade book, I can match it to the colors. It helps me stay organized. So I might say, okay, you guys are block 1, so we're gonna be green. Green is for go, which really does help me remember which block green is. So I'll have a little stack of papers, and it depends whatever size cubby or space you have for the students. You might need it to be bigger or smaller, but this is pretty much the only thing they're gonna make on that first day. I have markers and color pencils and crayons all ready for them, and they're gonna write their first name, last initial, and then decorate it in a creative way and fill up 80% of the paper at least. This is another way for them to get used to using the materials, following directions, because they can pick their materials and then they have to fill 80% of the space while trying to do something creative on the paper. It's a low stakes way for them to be creative, maybe for the first time in years, or if they are already used to being creative or drawing, they might do something very elaborate. If they can't think of what to do, I maybe say put some patterns or some shapes, or draw something that you love to draw, or some kind of design. When they're done, they'll bring it up to me, and if it's 80% full, then I give them 2 pieces of masking tape. They roll them, put them on the back, and then they get to pick their cubby. So that's how I do that. By then, it's usually, believe it or not, fairly close to the end of class. We have 90-minute classes, and that usually does take quite a while. I don't try to rush the first day. Your administration may have specific tasks that they are asking you to do on that day, so you might actually not have that much time to do the things you want to do. So make sure you do everything that your administration has asked you to do, and then at least get the syllabus and the questionnaire out. And name tag is great. If you can't fit the name tag in, do it the next day, but you probably will. Once everybody's hung up their name tags, I start to answer some of the questions on the questionnaire. Some students might work a little slower and they might still be working on their name tag. So I say, it's fine if you're still working on your name tag, just keep on working on that and I'm gonna answer some questions. So for a few more minutes while people are finishing up, I'll go through and literally look through the questionnaire and answer some of the questions. And a lot of times there are things I want to tell them anyway. They're asking, is this class hard? Is this class going to be fun? Is this class going to be boring? Do you have kids? What made you want to become a teacher? So a lot of things that I would probably want to let them know anyway. But as they're finishing up, I read a couple questions, and for the rest of the week, every day at the end of class, I read a few more of those questions and answer questions so we can know each other a little bit more. With any time left, then I start to go through the PowerPoint for my syllabus. I try to put cool pictures of past student artwork, some of my favorite sculptures, some of my favorite artwork, anything to get them kind of interested in what is this class about. I don't usually have time to go over the whole syllabus the first day, but I'll try to get part of the syllabus done, especially the expectation of respect. I ask them, why do you think respect is number one on my rules? And I talk about how it's important that we have a sense of community, that everybody feels welcome, that we're all treating each other with respect, not just they are respectful towards me, but they're respectful towards each other and I'm respectful for them. My number one thing is respect, kindness, empathy towards others. So everyone should feel welcome and that this is their place to come in, be themselves, and sit down, cool off, no matter what kind of stresses are happening in the rest of school. Hopefully know that they're going to be welcome and part of a community in the classroom. Try to get at least that point before the end of class, and then we can finish the rest of the rules the next day. I do try to tell them some of the important procedures and rules right away. I make sure that they know they need to be there on time, and I let them know that, for instance, for my class, and depends how it is for your school and your classroom, but I am real serious about no cell phones out unless I give them permission. A lot of times later on, we end up using them for doing research, or I let them listen to music with one earbud. But to start off, I start with no cell phones. And so I set that expectation right from the beginning, and then I can ease up later. It's always easier to ease up later than it is to try to tighten down later. Online, I showed 2 short videos that were just a couple minutes each about creativity and what is art. And I might do that this year. I might introduce 1 video a day where then they write a response on a small piece of paper and give it to me on their way out the door. Something I don't necessarily get to on the first day, but I like to have in my back pocket in case I need it, is a student survey. What I mean by that is I just give them all a small piece of paper. I just cut copy paper into, maybe a little bit bigger than this, and I say, write your top 3 things that you want to learn how to do in this class. Sometimes they have no idea. My sculpture class is called 3D design, and sometimes they don't know what that is. They just got put in the class, or maybe they are in an art class, but they don't know what the options are. You can give a few ideas. In my class, I have past student artwork around the room, so I say, look, this was from sculpture class, this was from art class, this was from art appreciation class. It gives them a little bit of idea, but some of them know they want to learn how to draw realistically, or they want to know how to draw a face, or they want to know how to do paper mache, or whatever it is that they're interested in. This helps them be invested in the class and help drive the direction that we go in the class. Most of the time, I don't get a chance to give them the survey on that first day, but I tell them that we're going to do it so that they have a day or 2 to think about what it is they might want to learn. And I, of course, tell them, I can't guarantee we'll be able to do everything, but this helps me understand what you're interested in. So hopefully by the end of class, there was enough things that we did that there was no downtime, no time for things to go awry. They got a chance to meet me, get to know me. I answered some of their questions. They got to let me know who they are, let me know about anything they're worried about in the questionnaire, anything that I need to know about the way that they learn. They got to kind of claim their own space, hopefully feel welcomed into the space so it's theirs now, and know a little bit about what we're going to be doing in the class. And then we finish up the next day with anything we didn't get to. So that's what I do on the first day. You might take whatever little pieces of this that you like and listen to other people, ask other people how they start their first days. But that's usually how I do mine. And then every year I tweak it, I add things, I make things a little bit better every time. So I hope that was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you have any ideas or things that you'd like me to make more videos about, either for art projects or for future videos on running a classroom, let me know and I will make more videos to follow up on this one. If you did find it helpful, please like, share, comment, and consider subscribing to the channel. I know you're going to have a great year. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I love you.